Every year, the best water quality professionals in the industry showcase their craft in the prestigious Operations Challenge. Qualifying events across the world produce elite teams who represent their employers, their region, and their profession on the global stage at WEFTEC. This year, all eyes are on the Metro Water Recovery's Elevated Ops, the reigning Division I champions from Denver, Colorado. Back-to-back championships from Elevated Ops could signal a new era in the Ops Challenge, an era that will belong to the Rocky Mountain region.
My name is Kelsey Gidge. I work at Metro Water Recovery, wastewater utility here in Denver, Colorado. I got involved several years ago. I had a coworker moved here from Texas, and he was big into Operations Challenge down in Texas. He moved here from the city of Austin, and prior to him coming to Metro, I didn't know anything about Operations Challenge. None of us on the team knew anything about Operations Challenge. He started talking about it, and I thought, okay, it sounds interesting. What do I need to do to participate?
My role as PWO rep for the state of Texas and a board member was co-chair of Ops Challenge alongside Jeff Sober. And so I left from a very active position, and I knew I wasn't just going to ride away into the sunset. I was actually surprised that Metro didn't seem to have even an understanding or a knowledge or an interest in Ops Challenge. And a couple of years of talking, while remaining active and attending WEFTEC and things like that, I started chalking it up with management here at Metro with the idea of starting our own team.
I think it was probably more of an unknown early on. Fortunately, we've had a successful run a couple of years as we've been doing it, so it's definitely supported by Metro and published by Metro. So I think the longer we're doing it, more people, just look at our region and how it's grown. It's definitely gaining recognition.
You know, the Operations Challenge does give you a greater appreciation of what other people do in the industry. You know, you start to learn these techniques, like the lab, stuff maybe you've never been in a lab before, and then you start getting your hands on some of the equipment. You start having a greater appreciation. It's like, this is kind of sophisticated.
I have a lot of fun competing in Ops Challenge. Like I said, I've been at Metro for a long time. When I got in Ops Challenge, it was different than anything I'd ever done. It motivated me. It's just fun to compete, fun to be part of a team. The national competition, trying to win those championships. It's a challenge every year.
There's definitely high expectations. They won Division I national championships last year, and I'm the new guy, so we would like to continue that streak, and I would personally not want to be the reason why we don't.
Elevated Ops isn't the only team to represent the Rocky Mountain region October 2nd and 3rd at WEFTEC in Chicago. The Commode Commandos from South Platte Renew and a second team from Metro Water Recovery, Double Duty. Both teams will compete at WEFTEC in Division II, but it's Westminster, Colorado's Sewerside Squad, to whom Elevated Ops served as mentor, that won last year's Division II competition and earned an automatic bid to compete alongside and against their friends from Metro Water Recovery.
My name is Lindy Aragon. I'm a chemist here at the City of Westminster. Now being Division I, the pressure is on. We're with the big dogs. Before, there were a lot of teams competing, and some take it seriously, some are only good in one event, some have never even seen events, but being in Division I, we're with the people whose companies pay for them to only practice. We practice on our own time. It's a whole new ball game.
Going into the competition, I think our biggest strength is our cohesiveness. We can work with each other, and even if we get behind or if we have some kind of mishap, we know that we can work through that very well. We're learning all of each other's roles, not just our role, but every other person's roles. That way, if someone's a little bit slower in that aspect, we can pick it up,
I think a big help in the Ops Challenge has actually been Elevated Ops. They've shown us a lot, and we work together with them, so they are always there to help. But now we're competing too, so it brings out another level to the game.
Elevated Ops, those guys have been good to our team for the last 2 or 3 years. They very supportive. They'll give us tips. They'll let us train at their facility. They'll let us know what the judges are looking for. They could be, I don't know, they could be bluffing. They could be worried that we're going to beat them and they've got a good poker face. I don't know.
Westminster's a team that we've really had a good relationship with over the past few years. They've been competing for probably 5 or 6 years, and their team has changed a little bit over time, but they got a really good group of people on that team, and we've developed a good relationship.
A lot of effort has been put into that regional growth and developing multiple teams, and to see everybody coming along and raising their level of competition and performing better in competition, it's a pretty awesome thing to be a part of.
In my mind, we're competing against them once a year, and that's at our regional competition. When we go to WEFTEC, I'm not competing against Westminster Sewerside Squad. I'm not competing against the Commode Commandos from South Platte Renew. We are there representing the Rocky Mountain region, and I would like to see us all be successful and bring home some hardware.
Before these teams go to WEFTEC, they compete at the Rocky Mountain Regional Qualifier in Denver, Colorado, June 23rd. When they face off in 5 events, starting with the process event. The process event utilizes a handwritten and computerized testing format to distinguish a team's relative process control skills. Teams split up to answer as many questions as they can during the 30-minute testing period.
So I think with process control, it wasn't always like an elite level event for us. We were always strong, we were always solid. Our secret weapon's Matt, so I guess he's not so secret anymore. Yeah, he's just a super sharp kid, and his mind works incredibly fast.
Elevated Ops, they've taken home the trophy for process at WEFTEC for I couldn't even tell you how many years. I should have looked this up. But they've always killed it in process, and that's where they get the big lead for them to actually take first in Division I, because they get so many points in process. And that's the one thing Kelsey told me is, if you guys want to do well in Division I, you have to do well in process. So we've been studying, we've been taking classes, we've, written problems for each other. We print out worksheets and leave them on each other's desk for the weekend. And, we've definitely taken our time trying to take that advice to heart. And I think beating them in process gave us, hope that we could do well in Division I.
The Sewerside Squad gained an early lead by earning the highest score in the process event. Up next, the safety event. The safety event simulates the type of danger operators could face in the real world. Due to a suspected gas leak or lack of oxygen caused by a worn 4-inch check valve gasket in the lift station, a facility crew member has collapsed inside a confined space lift station and lies unconscious. Working against the clock, 2 team members lower tools and equipment to the other team members who must rescue the worker and repair the check valve. 2 gate valves must be closed, locked out, and tagged out. The check valve flapper and gasket must be replaced, and the line must be put back into service.
So we opened up the day with safety, which is we were excited about. That feels like it's our event right now. And it came to a screeching halt because one of the winches, it wasn't pulling out like it should, and then we lost the pins on top of the tripod, so we couldn't even install the pulley like it's supposed to be. Luckily, they allowed us to restart the event rather than starting from where we called stop, but it throws off your whole routine, your mojo, your nerves are shot at the moment, so it definitely put a kink in our run.
Yeah, safety was a little bit rough. I know the very first few seconds going into that was great, and after that, it was just things just kind of fell apart a little bit.
I think it became a game of let's see how much stuff we can throw down into the confined space on top of our guys, and so that was a shock to me, just the sheer veracity of how bad that thing went in a hurry.
Our safety run was a disaster, so you're making numerous adjustments trying to get that sorted out within the run, but then you have to make adjustments so that you don't take that memory into the next event and have it carry over and cause problems there too, right? So for me, it's really communicating with the team during that event to have it go as smoothly as you can, catch up as much as you can, but then essentially just forgetting it after it's over.
Double Duty earned a surprise victory in the safety event, with the favored teams taking second and third. Up next, the Vaughn Maintenance Event. In its first year as part of the competition, the maintenance event requires teams to use supplied materials to lock out, tag out a power supply control panel, assemble and disassemble a reed gantry, and safely remove and rebuild a submersible pump.
I think maintenance is the event that we can improve the most on. We got our equipment only a few months ago. We've done a handful of solid runs on it. And I think just figuring out timing. And, last year we did very well in our maintenance event at WEFTEC. And I think it's just because we had the timing down. We had where we could pick up each other's slack. And we just haven't gotten into our groove yet on the maintenance event.
Normally we're one of the better, cleaner teams out there. Last year in WEFTEC, we had 1 penalty throughout the whole event. I think we had like 5 to 8 per event this go around. It killed us in penalty, like time-wise. They're penalties that we never ever made. They're boneheaded, I'd call them. So if we could just eliminate those, we've avoided all the costly penalties. We just got so many little ones, they stacked up and wiped us out.
I think our focus definitely still needs to be maintenance because it's such an involved event, and being new for this year makes it that much more challenging.
It's kind of interesting because we each have our own role and we're hyper focused on that and don't have a clue what the other people are doing during the events at certain points, but you pick up like different cues off of their movements or different call outs, so you don't necessarily know what they're doing, but you have a level of trust that they're doing it and they're going to get it done in a certain time, so you build that chemistry based off of that.
Elevated Ops won the maintenance event, with the Sewerside Squad once again drifting to third. Up next, the lab event. In the Ops Challenge lab event, teams analyze and determine total suspended solids on one table, while determining total dissolved solids and calculating a solid's mass balance across a treatment system on another table. The laboratory event can intimidate competitors who aren't used to working in a lab environment.
So the Ops Challenge has the 5 different events, and one of them is lab. So they thought having a lab nerd on the team would help them. So that's where I came in.
Having 2 chemists on the team, it always hurts to not be in first in the lab event. There was a change in this year's procedure that we had to add a standard. I think we went about it wrong. Just as a group that we decided how we were going to do it, and it totally threw it off. So I'll blame that for us coming in second, but it always hurts to not be first in that event.
The lab event, I thought for sure Suicide Squad was going to win the lab event because they are really good at lab. I'm not too sure what their end time was. Their raw time was pretty fast, but that's kind of goes to the penalty factor. Is if you have enough penalties, you can have the fastest time, but it can put you back a ways. And then I think our raw time was pretty good. I don't think we had as many penalties as we've had in the past, and so we've kind of excelled in that from last week. So yeah, it was a good win for lab.
Elevated Ops picked up more momentum in the lab event, and they'll carry that momentum into the final event of the day, the collections event. The collections event simulates connecting a 4-inch PVC lateral sewer to an 8-inch PVC sewer pipe, replacing a leaking section of existing 8-inch PVC sewer pipe while in service, and the programming of an automatic sampler as the most physical portion of the Ops Challenge. This fan-favorite event gives a team the chance to show off the sheer speed and strength of its members.
Our collections event was a solid run, but we had a penalty where Chad was pulling out the hole saw and then Steve touched the table. So that was a 15-second penalty. And in our run's a minute and a half, 15 seconds that's painful.
We had a lot of stupid penalties. We had a lot of mindless things that we were just, I don't know if it was a camera crew, the stress of being D1, the stress of the nation watching us. We flopped.
Yeah, for us, 130 in practice is pretty regular. We know that's not a winning time. there are some teams out there, especially the Texas teams, are super fast. And people are getting sub 118, even some are like a minute. If they can do those without penalties, yeah, that's like hypersonic.
You know, it could have been anybody's win. At the end of the day on the competition last week, I figured it could have got one of three ways: ourselves, Sewerside Squad, or Double Duty. And we were done competing. Sewerside Squad was done competing, and Double Duty had one event left on collections, and they killed it.
On any given day, and this competition is so close, anybody can have a good day and win, and one bad event can knock you off the stage.
After a fast finish in collections, Double Duty edged out Elevated Ops. But it's not enough to overcome the reigning champions, who took the overall trophy from the qualifying event. Sewerside Squad finished third overall. Despite unexpected results, both Elevated Ops and Sewerside Squad will spend the upcoming weeks ironing out the wrinkles their qualifying times revealed as they prepare to take on 52 other teams in October at WEFTEC in Chicago.
So it is very, very tough to win a national title in Operations Challenge. The level of competition is intense. It's nuts. And we're going to do our best, and we hope they all do their best, and we'll let the dust settle, and wherever it comes out, you know, if we get beat, we're going to go shake their hands, say congratulations. It's got a great community of individuals and wastewater professionals, and we're all out there trying to do our best, trying to compete, trying to represent our region and our entity.
I think we've definitely grown as a team, and we're going to be able to compete even better at WEFTEC. You know, for getting penalties, I'd rather get them here and work through them than get them in Chicago. We're a strong team, and even stronger now than we were last year.
The Rocky Mountain region will continue to shine at WEFTEC this year with two teams competing in Division I, and I believe both teams will be very competitive. And I also believe that our other two teams will be very competitive in the Division II levels. I won't be surprised if we have another team in Division I after this year's WEFTEC.
As wastewater professionals, I think a lot of what we do, a lot of people in the community don't understand and know what we do. And our number one responsibility is protecting public health and environment. And that's what we do on a day-to-day basis. By being involved with Operations Challenge, it got me excited to be doing those things again and being part of a diverse team and being able to compete and showcase and take that competitive side and see how far we can go. And we've been very fortunate. We've been very blessed. We've got a great team, great teammates, great camaraderie with the team. And so being part of Operations Challenge, being part of Elevated Ops has completely changed my outlook on work and my career.